where BJP's Prime Ministerial nominee, India's new Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is driving in to the party's state headquarters in Gandhinagar. There's a massive cavalcade accompanying him. You can see the Gujarat police personnel who've taken guard. His cavalcade was stuck amidst a sea of supporters right outside the BJP headquarters. For the longest time, they won't let their man go. We saw similar scenes in Varanasi at Lanka Chowk, and those are the scenes that were replicated here in Gandhinagar. In a while from now, Congress President Sonia Gandhi is also expected to address the media at the AICC headquarters in Delhi. These, of course, are pictures from Gandhinagar of the Narendra Modi cavalcade driving in. My colleague Preeti Chaudhary is reporting this afternoon from Gandhinagar, surrounded by a sea of saffron. Let's go across live to Preeti. Preeti, describe to our viewers. We can see these scenes, but you have a ringside view. What's going on in Gandhinagar? Describe the enthusiasm of the people who are thronging the BJP headquarters in Gandhinagar, waiting for their hero, the man who's led them to victory, the man who is the man of the moment, the man India has voted for. Preeti.
Well, yes, bang on, Rahul. The man who is now the Prime Minister designate, expecting him any minute here. And if I can just tell you the levels of enthusiasm. From 9 a.m. today, the minute the ballots started getting counted, people started assembling here at the BJP headquarters. I can't even see beyond the sea of saffron here, Rahul. Thousands of people gathered here, and I believe lining up, till the residence of the current Chief Minister and now the Prime Minister designate. Most of these people here who gathered here have traveled across the country, campaigning for Narendra Modi. 50% of them we spoke here have accounts in Twitter who campaigned all night for Narendra Modi. For them it's a day of deliverance, it's a day where even their effort has gone through. The chance here of Narendra Modi as well as Amit Shah, because many here believe that what happened in Uttar Pradesh is nothing short of a miracle. And Amit Shah also immensely popular. Many want him now to be the Chief Minister to take the place of Narendra Modi. Here we have it. Narendra Modi right now pulling in, launching the victory line.
Yeah. Oh, I think the jammers just came back on. The jammers came on when Narendra Modi's cavalcade drove in. That's where Preeti's line got disconnected. My colleague Maruk Inayat is also joining us. These, of course, are live images from the BJP state headquarters in Gandhinagar. There he is. Can we cut that full screen, please? Narendra Modi driving in his victory cavalcade into the BJP state headquarters in Gandhinagar. Thronged by a sea of BJP supporters, all of them waiting to see the man who's led them to the most incredible victory in the BJP's electoral history. The NDA at this time at 330 seats. 358 is what you need for a two-thirds majority. So just step back and think for a moment. They are only 28 seats short of a two-thirds majority in this Lok Sabha. What a moment this is for all those people who tracked Narendra Modi's career since the time he started out in Gujarat as an RSS pracharak, and even before that, people who've grown up with him in Vadnagar, people who went to school with him. All of them now have this fabulous story of having known, spent time, had chai, done gupshup with the man who's the most powerful Prime Minister India has seen since Indira Gandhi.
Recall, if I'm not mistaken, Narasimha Rao had described Sushri Mayawati as the miracle of Indian democracy. I think someone else may describe Narendra Modi as another miracle. From humble beginnings to lead the largest democracy is a remarkable success.
No, that it absolutely is. Because while the election express was in Vadnagar, we saw, you can hear the chants of Modi. You can hear the chants. This is a chant that will reverberate all across the country. People doubted the quantum of the Modi wave. People doubted the intensity of the Modi wave. They've seen its full impact, the fury of the tsunami that swept the entire country. Those are some of the ministers from Narendra Modi's cabinet, and there he is, the man himself, holding his hands. He's changed his clothes. Has he changed his clothes since the last time?
His jacket.
He's changed his jacket. He's very fond of being very nattily attired. He says so. He says, Bhagwan ne mujhe achhi dress sense di hai. Humility is not one of his big fortes, Javed. You know, that's just the way he is. Like it or leave it.
But Rahul, I think you're being unfair. If someone is very close to the family, you say dynastic. If someone doesn't go very often to his home, you say they're neglecting the family. If someone is badly dressed, you will say shabby. If
I'm just stating facts for the way it is. It's not a commentary on whether it's good or bad.
In a mood to countenance even the remotest,
Oh, absolutely. And in this moment, he must reach out to those who are skeptics, to those who are still in the role of Cassandras, the naysayers, and win them over. He must be a prime minister not for those who voted for him alone, but for the entire country. And therein lies the test of statesmanship. Can Narendra Modi be a prime minister for all of India? Can Narendra Modi also take along those who distrust him, people who hate him, people who dislike him? Will he be able to take them on board and be a unifying figure in the way Vajpayee?
I think the history shows that BJP has evolved quite a bit. After the Ram Janam Bhoomi, the movement has not been rekindled again. After Godhra, 12 years we had peace. I hope BJP will stick to its development sutra and talk about development, all-inclusive growth, and taking India to a different league altogether, rather than divisive politics. Because divisive politics, I don't think, will serve him well electorally.
Oh, absolutely. Because today's verdict calls into serious question the magnetism of the dynasty, the ability of the Gandhi family to deliver victory for the Congress party. That's what's held the that's what held the Congress together for the last several years. Now that they aren't delivering on their basic promise, the premise that holds the Congress together, will they still have the same stature in the Congress that they did when Sonia Gandhi and before her Rajiv and before that Indira took the Congress to an incredible victory? I now want to hand over for the time being to my colleague Maruk Inayat. Maruk, what are you making of these dramatic scenes that we've seen many naysayers and Cassandras totally dazzled by the results that have been seen and the intensity of this?
I think I totally agree with you, Rahul, because one of the things that needs to be appreciated by the entire country is that this man has the mandate of the entire nation, of the majority of voters who came out and voted for him. This man has proven all his critics wrong. Throughout, he kept saying, his party kept saying that there is a Modi wave that is discerning on the ground. But of course, the critics believe that it was part of the hype, part of the propaganda. And as he stands today with leaders from the Gujarat unit of the BJP and several of his supporters, clearly this is one moment that he must want to relish, isn't it?
Right. Right. And well, we look at it that this is the expectation that the country has. When we did the post-poll survey, we went and asked our respondents if Modi represents the aspirations and the national interests of India. 57% people cutting across communities said yes. When we asked people, do they think that Modi is going to revive the economy of India? He's going to revive the India growth story. 56% people said yes. So across communities, across states, across different sections of society, there's a lot of enthusiasm about Modi. And both Dr. Lahiri and I were reading a wave, but not the magnitude of this wave. And today, when the numbers are out, all of us feel that, of course, the wave was much bigger than what we thought. And at the same time, there's a lot of burden of expectations on Mr. Modi.
Maruk, I think the more important question is that with such a resounding victory for the BJP and its allies, who will be providing the opposition to BJP and NDA in the parliament and in the country? And here, I think one question that worries me is that Congress has swung back into power after 77 to 80. From 84 to 89, it fell from 404 to 197. It again swung back in 1991. But then it has been a continuous decline till 2009.
Right.
After this devastating defeat, who will lead the Congress to?
That's a moot question. And I want to ask Javed at this point, as we look at these pictures, remember for our viewers who are joining us at this point, Narendra Modi, the face, I would say, a lot of humiliation, at the same time pride. It's almost statesmanly like the expression.
Not humiliation.
Humility, I beg your pardon. If it came out as humiliation, my apologies. But humility, greatly, in that expression. Because here he is, you know, doing that namaste as he meets, he was earlier at his mother's place where he had gone to meet her. And clearly, even now, there is a sense of satisfaction, great gratitude that he feels. And almost, this is prime ministerial, really, in the way he's approaching this winning moment. Javed, we heard Umar Abdullah just a short while back admitting defeat, humility in that defeat. Why aren't we hearing from the Gandhis? When are they going to come out and speak? They were supposed to speak at 2 p.m.
Yeah, in a short while from now, this is what we're given to understand. My colleague, Mr. Ashraf Khan, has informed me that any moment from now, Mrs. Gandhi, the Congress President, will come out and make a statement. Whether they'll take questions or not, I'm not so sure. But we will, for the first time, hear from the Gandhi family their take on this election and how they react to it. As far as the Congress party is concerned, this is not just their worst performance ever, but there is now also an existential question. Can this Congress party survive? Can the Congress party come back from this severe drubbing? You know, the jury is still out, huge question marks over the leadership and its ability to bring the Congress back almost from the dead.
Mr. Larry, even as we are looking at these pictures, there are lots of struggles and hurdles that Narendra Modi has. Do you think the kind of mandate that he's come with, perhaps he might be able to ease some of those hurdles, especially the ones that come up with the RSS, and then perhaps interfering? Till yesterday, we were running these stories of how the RSS is really looking at everything minutely, from the ones who are given the post to other bigger issues of what the agenda for the BJP should be in the first 100 days.
I think what will help Mr. Modi is the resounding mandate. If the mandate had been somewhat more fractured, then that problem could have been more pronounced. And going by Mr. Modi's record and whatever little I have read about him, I think he is going to be providing a very strong government. If you recall,
right,
the fear was whether he'll be too strong a prime minister. The other fear that whether he'll be too weak doesn't trouble me at all. I mean, I think if there is a problem, it may be some people will say he's riding roughshod. I don't think the problem will be that he's not being able to take decisions.